All right, let's dive into something that kind of flips modern self-help on its head. We're talking about a philosophy from entrepreneur Natalie Dawson, and it's all about becoming what she calls a team of one. The whole idea? Taking radical control of your success instead of just sitting back and waiting for things to happen to you.
You've heard it a million times, right? Detach and you'll attract. Just let go and the universe will deliver. Well, what if that's wrong? Natalie Dawson says this whole mindset is actually a trap. She argues that the most successful people out there, they aren't detached at all. Nope, they are intensely attached to their vision.
And this really breaks it down, doesn't it? On one side, you've got detachment. That can easily slide into a victim mentality, right? Where you feel powerless and life just happens to you. But on the other side, taking control. That puts you in the driver's seat. You're the hero of your own story, you're responsible, and you make life happen for you. It really is a choice. Are you going to be passive or are you going to be proactive?
Okay, so how do you actually do this? Where do you even start? Well, the journey begins inside. It all starts with mastering your inner world. It's about getting your own mindset right long before you try to conquer anything out there.
Now, this is a big one, a question you really have to ask yourself. And be honest. Do you want to be liked or do you want to be respected? So many of us, and we don't even realize we're doing it, we choose being liked. We bend our rules, we compromise, all to please other people. But what happens? In the end, it just chips away at the respect others have for us, and maybe more importantly, the respect we have for ourselves.
So what does choosing respect actually look like? It's not about being a jerk, not at all. It's about setting clear boundaries. It's about communicating with authority and prioritizing your own standards. And you know what? The right people, the people who really matter, they'll respect that. They'll rise to meet your standards.
Okay, this quote is a total game changer. Think about it. You can't see your own blind spots. That's why they're called blind spots. You can't grow if you don't even know what's holding you back. So Dawson's take is that feedback isn't criticism, it's a gift. The people who are willing to point out your flaws, they're basically handing you a roadmap for how to get better. All you have to do is listen.
And speaking of your environment, let's talk about the single biggest factor in it, your partner. Seriously, they're either going to be your biggest cheerleader or your heaviest anchor. There's really no in between. If they're not on board with your vision for the future, they will hold you back. You have to choose someone who fuels your ambition, not someone who puts out the fire.
All right, so you've worked on your inner world. Your mindset is strong, but that's only half the battle, right? A powerful mindset is totally useless without action. This is where we shift gears and talk about execution, how you turn those thoughts into actual results. This is what separates the dreamers from the doers. And the secret sauce? It isn't just taking action. It's about speed and force.
And here's the framework for that. Dawson calls it the cycle of momentum. It's so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Just 3 steps. 1, decide fast. 2, execute immediately. And 3, review the data quickly. Then you just repeat. That's how you build momentum that's pretty much unstoppable.
Step 1, decide fast, is so important because so many of us get stuck in paralysis by analysis. We wait and wait for perfect information. But guess what? It's a losing game. The world moves way too fast for that. The most successful people, they get just enough info to make a pretty good call and then they go. They act. Because they know that real clarity comes from doing, not from overthinking. And this ties right into it. Imperfection is the new perfect. Seriously, your customers, your audience, they don't want some polished, sterile thing anymore. They want something real. So launch that thing when it's 80% ready. Get it out there. Get real feedback, make it better, and you'll blow past the competition who are still sitting in a meeting room obsessing over every little detail.
And here's a killer real-world example of this in action. After an hour-long meeting with Grant Cardone, he didn't say, "Great, write up a proposal." He said, "Great, send me a link by tomorrow morning so I can start to promote it." Wow. That is the pace that top performers operate on. The expectation isn't a plan, it's a product. An idea today is a live link tomorrow.
Okay, so you've got the mindset, you've got the speed. Now, where do you point all this energy? Where are the real opportunities? Dawson's answer is, well, it's fascinating. She says to go where everyone else isn't looking. Go for the boring stuff.
Think about it. While everybody's chasing the next sexy, flashy tech startup, fortunes are being made in things like roofing, plumbing, or super niche business software. Why? It's simple, really. The demand is urgent and real. The market is totally fragmented. And the competition? A lot of them are still doing things the way they did 30 years ago.
Let's take AI.
Everyone's obsessed with building the next Chat GPT. But the real money, the boring AI money, it's in creating simple, super specific tools for these overlooked industries. Just look at these numbers. The growth is explosive with margins up to 70%. Why? Because you're not trying to boil the ocean. You're solving one very specific, very expensive problem for someone.
And we're not talking about some far-off, abstract ideas. Think about an AI that automatically generates quotes for contractors. How much time and money does that save them? It's huge. Or a CRM for an esthetician that automates follow-ups and upsells. These little tools can absolutely dominate a niche market because they solve a super painful, super repetitive problem.
And it's not just AI. Let's look at home services. Plumbing, electrical, HVAC. A projected 10% annual growth through 2030. That is a massive, massive opportunity. People are always going to need these things. And the best part, you don't even have to be the one holding the wrench.
This right here, this is basically the playbook. This is how you win. A modern operator can walk into pretty much any city and just dominate by doing these simple things. While the old school guys are just relying on word of mouth, you can come in with Google Ads, a modern CRM, a system for reviews, and, this is the kicker, subscription plans for recurring revenue. It's a total game changer.
Okay, this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, and honestly, it's the most important one. Because all this stuff we've talked about, it's completely useless if you're just going to sit there waiting for the perfect time to start.
Let's just bust this myth right now. Nobody ever feels 100% ready. It's a fantasy. You don't find confidence by waiting on the sidelines. You build it by taking those small, maybe even uncomfortable steps every single day. Remember, clarity comes from action, not from sitting around and planning.
So I want you to ask yourself this question. Forget about the 5-year plan for a second. What is the smallest possible step you can take right now, today, to get some data to move the ball forward? Is it sending one email, making one phone call, publishing that blog post you think isn't perfect yet? That tiny little step, that's what kicks off the whole cycle of momentum.
It's like this. You can't steer a parked car. You have to be moving. The perfect plan isn't something you dream up in your head. It's something you discover along the way, through the messy, real, imperfect process of just doing the work.
And that's really the big takeaway here. That desire for perfection, let's call it what it really is. It's just procrastination with better branding. It's a fancy excuse for not starting. So if you want to win, you have to act. Take radical control, execute with speed, and start today.